This is Prague Castle, the largest, still functioning, ancient castle complex in the world. If you didn't like what I just said, go complain to Guinness Book of Records. And today I'm gonna share my pro tour guide tips so your Prague Castle visit goes as smooth as possible. We are making this video as an update because recently Prague Castle authorities decided to raise prices for the entrance tickets. Yay! We are gonna talk about the tickets later. First, some basic information about the Prague Castle. Prague Castle is a free-to-enter area that is open since 6 a.m. till 10 p.m. It is over 7 hectares large and was founded in the end of the 9th century. Tip number 1. Choose a correct entrance, because if you pick a wrong one, you might be out of breath before you reach anything in the Prague Castle. First of all, let's talk about how do you actually enter the Prague Castle. Here we have a map, so you can really see how confusing this place is. Your choice of the entrance will dictate your whole visit. For example, if you decide to go by the easiest route, you should probably pick the entrance that we are at now, over here, because it's right next to the tram station. Alternatively, you can enter through the Royal Gardens over here, because there is another tram stop, and walk through the entire garden and exit it right about here. There's also the main entrance to the Prague Castle from Hradčany Square. And this is where the change of the guards is going to take place. We're going to talk about it later. This is the furthest entrance. To get there, you will have to get off the next stop, Brusnice, and then walk all the way there, so it might take you a while. There is another secret or sneaky entrance to the Prague Castle through the Deer Moat, but this one is only opened in the summer season. To enter the Deer Moat, you would have to go from the opposite side, and then you will walk through the Deer Moat and get up on the hill and exit from here, right next to the entrance to the Prague Castle. To sum it up, there are only 5 entrances to the Prague Castle. Beware that you can't enter the Prague Castle through the gardens below the Prague Castle. Many people make that mistake and try to climb all the way up and enter through the gardens and then face the horrible disappointment because the entrance up there is locked. Tip number 2. Remember that Prague Castle is still a functioning residence of the Czech president, so there are certain rules about entering the Prague Castle. When you will arrive to the castle, you will notice that there are still metal detectors here. There's no line, you simply walk in and the policeman at the metal detector will be randomly selecting people who he will want to check. You can bring pets to the castle, but you won't be allowed to enter the interiors or the gardens of the castle. Now let's talk about how do you actually visit the Prague Castle. While most of the castle complex is admission free, there are still some attractions where you will need a ticket to enter. To simplify it's basically all of the churches, museums, galleries, exhibitions, palaces, and towers. That's where you will need a ticket. Where do you buy the ticket? Well, the easiest way is to go to one of the info centers in the Prague Castle itself. And don't worry if there is a giant line next to one of them. Usually the other ones are okay, so you just need to walk over to a different info center. And you might not believe it, but Prague Castle has caught up with time since the last video we made about it and decided to start selling tickets online. Yay! But guess what? You will still have to print them out. Yeah, like the old-fashioned way, and bring the paper with you. So it literally defeats the purpose of setting up the whole system of selling tickets online. Of course, you can bother your receptionist to print out the ticket for you or do it in advance, but I still believe that the best way is to buy ticket here. The first one will include these 4 attractions, and the second one will include certain exhibitions and museums of the castle. You will have to buy the ticket to the tower of the St. Vitus Cathedral separately. And now to the big news. Prague Castle has decided to raise prices for the entrance tickets since 1st of March 2024. And now they're gonna be 450 per adult instead of 250, so it's almost double. Apparently it's because they need to renovate a bunch of stuff in the castle and also because of inflation. And now we will show you what can you actually see if you get the ticket to the Prague Castle interiors. And our first site is going to be the St. Vitus Cathedral. Make sure to check out the chapel of St. Wenceslas, where the main patron saint of Czech lands is buried. You might know him as Good King Wenceslas from the Christmas Carol, but he was a duke. Also, don't miss out on the biggest silver sarcophagus of Saint John of Nepomuk while you are here. And yeah, it takes a very long time to polish it. and enjoy the original 1300 Gothic architecture in this part only, because if you go there, that's not Gothic anymore. Inside of the old royal palace, you should check out the famous defenestration window. That one. Don't worry, we keep it closed now, so nobody will fall out. Next one is the Basilica of St. George. That guy, always up on his high horse. What can you see inside of the St. George's Basilica? Just see the basilica. It's one of the oldest buildings in Prague. It dates back to 10th century. And if you are into dead people, Saint Ludmila is buried there. That's grandma of Saint Wenceslas, for context. The last attraction included in your ticket will be the Golden Lane. This is sort of a theme park of the Prague Castle, in a sense that you have a lot of individual exhibitions and stores that you can explore. When you're here, make sure to check out the original defense corridor up there. We can actually go there together now.
What's up?
Ta-da! You see, if you have a professional or semi-professional camera, you can only take photos of the interiors of the Prague Castle with this, a photo license. Whoop, it costs 50 crowns, but it's only pictures. You cannot record any videos, which obviously would be needed for this video. But guess what? There's a loophole here. You can take as many photos and as many videos as you want with your phone. You don't need a license for that. And nobody will be able to tell the difference between the video that was filmed on the phone and the video that was filmed on a professional camera. So just to make sure we don't have any lawsuits in the future, all of the videos of the interiors of the Prague Castle that you see here were filmed on my phone, not on the camera. There's only one exhibition which is not part of the circuits of the Prague Castle tickets, and that's of course the museum and the gallery in the Lobkowicz Palace, the only privately owned building in the Prague Castle today. Fun fact, Lobkowicz family also owns the top of Říp Mountain. If you're not Czech, you might not know what it is, but Říp Mountain is the holy mountain, and according to the legend, this is where praotec Czech, so grandpa Czech grandpa, no, climbed with his tribe and said that this is where they're gonna settle down. So the Lobkowicz family also owns that mountain. Don't know how it works, but that's the fact. When it comes to food and drinks, we don't recommend having lunch in the castle. We recommend going outside, maybe somewhere around Hradčany Square, because there are restaurants there and they have much nicer prices. Eating in the castle will cost you an arm and a leg, but there are still options. For example, here on this little hidden street on the side of the St. Vitus Cathedral, you have a restaurant, a cafe and a canteen. Guess where we went? The prices there are still pretty high. You get a coffee from the coffee machine for like 70 crowns and you can get a meal for 200 something crowns. It's not, of course, the most expensive meal that you can get in Prague, but considering the quality, I guess it's a little bit overpriced, but the canteen is all right. Quick mention about the toilets. There are not enough of those. There's one right next to St. Vitus Cathedral, but it is not for free. It costs 10 crowns. The toilets in the restaurants are frequently out of service. There's also a toilet next to the Golden Lane. Just so you know, it's a little bit of a problem. They're not readily accessible here in the castle, so you might need to search for them. After years, if not centuries of neglect, the Provost House, located right behind the St. Vitus Cathedral in the Prague Castle, opened its doors to the public. Now you can access the beautiful terrace with a view to the deer moat and also grab a coffee, because guess what? We also have a new Starbucks that opened here. Starbucks might be one of the only companies that is able to pay the atrocious rents in the Prague Castle. It is a smart business move. More people go to Starbucks nowadays than they go to church in the Czech Republic, as it is one of the least religious countries in the world. Get it? So what is actually the best time to visit Prague Castle? That of course depends on what you want to do here, because if you just want to walk through the whole thing, you don't want to go inside of any interiors, you don't care about the cafes and exhibitions, I would say the quietest walk in the castle is right after they open, so 6 a.m. Good luck. Or after all the attractions close down, so that's usually after 5 p.m, but I would even push it further till 6 or 7. But if you want to visit the interiors of the Prague Castle, you get slightly different answer from me. here it is. The best time to visit the interiors of the Prague Castle is not right after they open, so at 9 a.m, because that's when everyone comes here. The best time would be after 1 p.m. You need to leave at least 3 hours before the closing of the exhibitions of the castle, so you have enough time to see everything. So if you are coming here in summer, you have plenty of time because everything closes at 5 p.m. But if you come here in winter, everything closes at 4, so you need to count that just to make sure. If you want to beat the crowds, avoid coming to the castle between 11 and 1 because the main change of the guards happens at noon. So usually a lot of people flock to the main gate, to the Giant's Gate of the castle right at that time. And trust me, in summer it looks like a mosh pit, literally. Now we are waiting for the change of the guards, and we have a pro tip for you. Don't visit the Prague Castle right after the change of guards, because everyone is gonna go there. So all of the people in the crowd, they're all gonna flock to St. Vitus Cathedral right after the change of the guards is over. And actually now you can have a good look at the change of the guards from two places, either behind the gate over there or from here, from the first courtyard of the castle. But you do have to come here in advance. Right now there's still 15 minutes till the change of the guards will be starting, and there are already people waiting at the rope. So yeah, the early bird gets the biggest worm. Is that how it goes? While walking through the Prague Castle, you will probably wonder, what are all these beautiful palaces for? I will tell you. Prague Castle is the main seat of the Czech president, so it is the White House, so to say. So all these palaces are used by the presidential office, which means we, common people, cannot enter them. But 3 times a year they will have the open doors to the Prague Castle, so you will be able to visit all of them for free. But just beware that it's gonna be a very long line to get inside, because that's when all of the Czech people are gonna come to visit the castle as well. So unless you are good at martial arts, you might not survive it. Oh yeah, we are gonna climb that. Am I excited? No. Why? Because I know that this tower is 96.5 meters tall, almost 300 steps all the way to the top, no elevator, and the passageway is so narrow, 2 people have hard time passing each other by. Oh, and of course it's not for free, so you have to pay for your suffering. 200 crowns per person since March 1st, 2024. But you know what? It is still cheaper than one-time entrance to the gym. Let's go.
So quick.
One little stop on the way up is the Zikmund bell, the biggest bell in the Czech Republic, which you can only peek at over here. This bad boy is almost 16 tons, and yeah, it would hurt if it would fall on my head. Guy de Maupassant said that the best view of Paris is from the restaurant located in the Eiffel Tower, because you can't see the Eiffel Tower that way. Well, here I would say it's the opposite, because for me the view of Prague is recognizable by the cathedral. So when you can't see it in a picture, here it is, the gorgeous view to the deer moat, which is not a moat, and there is no deer inside of it.